Pastor Michael Aanu Ojo, the senior pastor and the superintendent of Christ Apostolic Church, Vineyard of Mercy, 4547 Commercial Avenue, Saboyaba, Lagos. From my research, from my understanding about this COVID-19 pandemic, on one hand, it's a virus, and it's really happening, and people are dying. On the other hand, it's something that I have also found out that it's a biological weapon. On one hand, also, we see people using that which is a virus, a killer virus, using it as a time to play politics and a time to use it to oppress nations and people. The summary of it is that we are going through a pandemic. It's not human error. It didn't just happen by chance. It came out of a laboratory. It came out of some planned experiments. So I believe that it is a virus and at the same time an attack on the general public. Well, the way the government has been handling the matter, we appreciate the federal government and all the agencies that have been working, the NCDC, trying to curtail it. But with everything that we have seen, science has not been able to give us solution. No solution with medical practice. No solution up till now. But all the effort of the government, this effort is being appreciated. That they are running around trying to put things in place just to see that it doesn't spread beyond control. But we can still do more. Our government can still do more. People are blaming the government today because they believe that we don't have a system that is working. It has exposed the government of Nigeria in the area of our health. It has exposed the government of Nigeria in the area of how we support the less privileged of the nation, the economy of the nation, what we rely upon, what we depend upon. And now that we are facing what we call a pandemic, we are facing an attack on the people and the economy and on the health sector. It looks like there's a lot of loopholes. Closure of churches and mosques. These are the faith-based organizations. That is, they cry out to the Lord. They are spiritual entities. Now, the closure of the faith-based organizations, the churches and the mosque, just has to do initially with trying to curtail the spread of the coronavirus pandemic, so that people don't come together and contract it from other people because they believe it is airborne from some droplets from your breath. When you sneeze or you cough, so many people can contract the disease. And where you have so much gathering, where you have people in hundreds and in thousands gathering to worship and to sing and to hold themselves and touch themselves and jubilate together, it's a dangerous thing. So closing down, not just the churches and the mosques, but where you have large gatherings, I support that. Regarding the partial lockdown, it has helped in many ways. It has helped at least for people to stay safe It has helped to create a lot of awareness where people can have their personal hygiene as a focus, as a priority. The partial lockdown has also helped so that people can be tested and we can know those who have the virus and know how to go about isolation and also know how to go about the treatment. Regarding this pandemic, I want to advise the government. You have been doing so much that people can see on one hand, and on the other hand, not too many people can see what you have been doing. But the first advice that I want to give is we are going to cross this phase, but it's going to give us a lot of understanding as to how to build our nation, to prepare our nation ahead of any pandemic or any disaster. We should never take anything for granted. That before it comes, before we experience any danger, we should have continually educated our people on what we call natural disasters. We should put things in place that when these disasters occur, how do we get people out of trouble? For instance, the health sector. It's been said over and over. This is where the weakness has been exposed. I also want to encourage the government that any time that our nation is faced with a crisis, we should be able to get people to rally around and put in their best to curtail it. No side, no part, no segregation, nothing at all should separate us. We should come together to fight it. Where in Nigeria, some governors have decided what they wanted, different from what the federal government is saying. We are fighting the same battle, but everybody wants to do it their own way. I want to encourage the government. We should all come together to fight this pandemic. The reopening of churches and mosques, let me first of all explain this. I would want to say that because of the virus, people should stay at home and stay safe, ordinary. But we've been there for 2 months now. And then the markets have been opened, and a few businesses and organizations have been opened. And that is where the people who already are frustrated, staying at home and no money to support themselves, now they see some organizations reopening, but they see the church as an organization where you have so many people gathering at the same time. But let us look at it this way. This is my own concern. If we have no cure for it now, we have no solutions whatsoever from anywhere, we can turn to the Creator. We can turn to God. As I know in the Bible, there have been plagues that have attacked the people of God, the people of Israel, even while they were in Egypt. And we have seen God deliver his people from plagues. Okay. Even the plagues and the diseases that came upon the people as a result of their own disobedience. When they cried to God, he heard and he delivered them. So what we're saying now is, can't we go back to God? We can pray though in our homes, we can pray in small groups, but because the church is a spiritual entity, the church also needs what we call not just a social contact, but we also need what we call connection, a network, reasoning together talking together and praying together. I believe that if the church is reopened and the leaders, church leaders, or the spiritual leaders of these faith-based organizations can educate the people more on sanitization, on their personal hygiene, and then we can now go to the spiritual aspect of talking to God, saying, help us, have mercy on us at this time. And I know that God is a God of mercy. He will answer our prayers. Now, if the churches and mosques are open for now, I think common sense tells us that all the church leaders and faith-based organizations have to put a lot of things in place. You have to educate your people before they come to church, because you are coming not just alone, you are coming with your family members. There will be children department, there will be the youth and the young adult department, and we need to educate everybody. You're going to the church now, not as usual. Number one, your pattern of living must change. Number two, your understanding about this issue, you must have it right. So when you come, you are coming to worship strictly, to pray, and within a short time, you go back home. It's not for you to come there and do the worship as usual. Just sit around, talk, and after the service, you sit around, hang around again and talk, and just the social distancing is not there. So some of the things you have to do will be educating your children from home, and as you come into the church, at the entrance of the church, people must wash their hands, sanitize their hands. When they come into the church, they must sit apart. You have to do that social distancing in the church. They must use their face mask. And not too many people at the same time. If you have 200 members, for instance, break your services into 4. If we have big churches that have 10,000 members, you can have all your services throughout the week and break them into hundreds. And people can choose whichever one they want to come to on Monday at 7 o'clock, on Monday. Even on Sunday, there are people who have 6, 7 services on Sunday, normally. So now, what stops you from having 6, 10, or 12, and then break your services throughout the week? Monday, you can choose to come. Tuesday, you can come at 6 to 7 a.m., 8 to 9 a.m., and you know at least you have come. You've seen some of the church members, you've related, you've prayed together, you go to work, and if you choose to come for the one in the evening, so the church can reorganize their system that way. Number one, this virus has killed people. People have lost their loved ones, whether it's in the church or outside of the church. You can see that somehow, emotionally, this COVID-19 pandemic has affected the church emotionally. It has affected people also psychologically. You begin to look at, before you even pick up now, when you come into every gathering, to shake hands, to hug people, sit tight, close, as we would always do, hold hands and jubilate. Psychologically, you want to do something, then you react again and get back to yourself. So, and it's going to be like that for a long time. Some will come to church now and they've lost their jobs because of the pandemic. And they are probably some of those who have been supporting the church programs and supporting the less privileged, the widows and the weak in the church. You don't expect much from them. It has also affected the church financially. So emotionally, psychologically, financially, socially, it has affected the church. But more, I believe somehow, those who have not been careful would also have been affected spiritually. They would have become lazy. It's like in those days when the holiday was so long for students. Some people lost their handwriting because it was a long time that they had written essays and they had written so many things. So they began to struggle with trying to have their, maybe it was cursive handwriting, or they wanted to put things on paper. You see, so some people also would probably have become lazy in prayers. They would have been sleeping and sleeping and sleeping and eating, doing nothing. And so they come to church and their minds, their spiritual being will need to be reactivated, will need to reboot. So somehow again, I believe that would have been one of the things that the COVID-19 pandemic affected in the church. Now, in the nation, the economy of the nation, we know that a lot of people out there, the reason why they've been shouting and crying, wanting to have their freedom or liberation, is that some people earn what we call daily wages. What they push around, what they take around, what they move around, what they earn on daily basis is what they would use in taking care of themselves and their families. And a lot of these people are the people who are also reaching out, the goods and services that so many people need: food, water, clothing, and so on. And some businesses also have to connect, even interstate, and some have to do that even out of the country. But everything locked down. So economically, it has wrecked businesses, it has wrecked finances. In fact, it has impoverished some people. It will take some time for some people to get back up financially and the nation to get back up economically. The COVID-19 pandemic is a natural disease. It has only got to do with biblical prophecies. In other words, the Bible has said to us, Jesus speaking about things that will happen in the end time. And he said there will be pestilence. There will be diseases. That's what it means. There will be plagues. There will be famine also. So we see that as a spiritual connotation. That means that if your eyes are open spiritually, you will know that a time will come when we will have this kind of problem. But now, like I said, it's not human error. Not that somebody just made a mistake. Oh, from all that has been going on, some of them are called conspiracy theories. From all the things that we've gathered from presidents, from scientists, from those who are researchers, from those who are in the medical line, the scientific line, now it means also it is a natural attack. It means man ignited it. It means we went beyond our boundaries. Let me say this. When I look at this world, it's a beautiful place to be in. And God has really given us a world. When I look at how people are developing things and making it easier for us to dwell on earth, people are, sometimes I watch the History Channel, the Natural Geographic Channel, and you see how things are being developed. Look at the going to space station, creation of, or making of the invention of the space station. Look at where satellites are today. Some people decided, but this is what is always coming to my mind. If those people had thought of something that would destroy the world, those of us who are alive today will not be alive. If those who invented the airplanes, those who invented the telephones and the televisions and the cameras had it in mind that their main reason to do this is to destroy mankind, then those who are doing their own evil today will not be alive. So people have created wars because somebody stepped into another person's territory. Somebody wants to oppress another. Somebody wants to enslave another. Why can't we all continue to develop things that will bring peace, comfort, and goodness to the world? Why create weapons of war? Why create weapons of destruction? Why look at some human beings and feel they are not meant to be human beings. They shouldn't be alive. My first prayer is that God will give us that spirit to rise in unity and to fight against anything that wants to pull down our great nation. Any man, any woman whose intention is not to make things work well, we should rise together. God should give us that grace. Number two, that wherever we are, God should protect us. And then he should preserve us for the generations to come, so we can continue to pass the baton of peace and love and harmony and development to other generations. And in Nigeria again, I pray that God will raise up for us spiritual and political leaders who mean well for this nation, who can do it well. Not those who have forgotten that anything that they take, they amass to themselves, they embezzle, that they will leave it behind. Go and study history of emperors and those who build empires, but they are monuments today. They use people as slaves. They build massive structures. Look at that of Hitler. Look at that of the Nazis. Look at that of in Constantinople. Go round the world and you see those places are there today where they fought wars and wars. In France, in Belgium, in Germany, in the United Kingdom, and monuments. You can see their ship, their gunboats, gunships, and everything now. So the next thing is to ask yourself, so why did you go there in the first place? Everything is laid to waste now. So my prayer is that love will reign in our hearts all over the world. Unity will reign. The purpose of God in our hearts and his plan for us, every time that God will open our eyes to see it, that if I don't care for my neighbor, if I don't love my neighbor, then I will create a problem for myself. My prayer for us is that we will come out of this pandemic to all celebrate, rejoice with ourselves, and to encourage and support those who have lost their loved ones. May God be with you and bless Nigeria.